happens if the Israelis were to attack this ship and you, along with us, get arrested? We have different sets of problems. We don't recognize Israel. So I don't know which country we get deported to. But obviously the special relationship between the U.S. and Israel, what would that mean? A U.S. citizen in Israeli custody?
Well, yes, we've had that before. Last year, in fact, there were American citizens that were detained in prison for 10 days by the Israeli government and then deported, including a U.S. presidential candidate and former U.S. Congresswoman, Cynthia McKinney. So there's a history of the Israelis arresting and deporting American citizens. There's also an American citizen on this flotilla that is he is a survivor of the 1967 Israeli attack on the USS Liberty, a U.S. naval ship. So that is a real interesting one. If he gets arrested after he barely survived his ship being blown up by the Israelis 40 years ago. Even in my letter of resignation from the State Department in March of 2003, I resigned specifically over the Iraq War, but I also put in that letter of resignation that the unbalanced policies of the Bush administration and other administrations on the Israeli-Palestinian issue was a danger to the United States. And I felt that the Bush policies of not engaging at all, this was back in 2003, were dangerous for America and for the world. America for 60 years has had totally pro-Israeli policies. And it's been a disaster for the United States and the perceptions of the rest of the world toward the United States. It's jeopardized U.S. national security, and it's actually jeopardized Israeli security too, because they've been able to get away with anything they want to. Any criminal act they want to do, any violation of international law, America protects them. And I, as a U.S. diplomat, as a retired Army colonel, think that is a great danger to America, to Israel, and to the world.
How does the tail wag the dog?
Well, the tail wags the dog because there are powerful influences in the United States, key Jewish persons with lots of money who use that money and influence to influence our U.S. Congress and to influence every U.S. president.
Let's discuss this further in terms of your experience of dealing with Israel. What can they do to this ship?
Well, certainly they have a very powerful military. The United States gives Israel $3 billion a year for military purchases. It is the strongest, most well-equipped with U.S. military F-16s, Apache helicopters. It has naval vessels that are the most powerful in the region. It can do a lot. It can fire, of course, weapons at us, so they can fire over the bow. They can ram the ships, as they have done some of the free Gaza ships before. They can board the ships. They can take over command of the ship. However, that's one thing when you've got one ship out there, or two, essentially a pleasure vessel. When you've got these big ships, big cargo ships that can withstand a military attack for a certain period of time, when you've got this passenger vessel with 600 people that say, we want to go to Gaza, it's a whole different level and scale. I would certainly hope that the Israelis recognize this for what it is, a peaceful, nonviolent mechanism for forcing governments to do what governments don't want to. It's where the citizens of the world tell governments, you have to listen to the citizens.
Can Israel be that reasonable and logical? That's a very reasonable thing to actually.
Well, if it wants to start in a different path, which it really needs to, because it's in the doghouse of the world. It is in the bottom of every hole by its horrible policies that are getting worse by the day. If it wants to turn over a new leaf, this would be an excellent time to do it. To save face, to say, well, I mean, there are a million ways that they could turn this to try to get it more in their favor. And I would certainly hope that they use that tactic, because the people of Gaza need this humanitarian relief. They need the construction materials to go in. The siege of Gaza must be broken. And this is just the first of, I can foresee many, many flotillas that'll be going. In the last year, we've just seen an ever-increasing number of things. Viva Palestina has brought 3 huge convoys by land in through the Egyptian border. We brought 1,300 people from 44 countries into Egypt during December to go into Gaza, but the Egyptians said no. But instead, these activists from all over the world activated in Cairo, much to the displeasure of the Egyptians. Now we have 8 ships that are on the high seas ready to go in. I mean, 6 months from now, there's going to be something else. 6 months. This is the beginning of the end of the siege of Gaza. There's no doubt about it.
How would Barack Obama respond to something as big as this? Obviously, they cannot not take notice of it. What would they do?
Yes. Well, we've informed them that there are U.S. citizens that are on board these boats and that we fully expect that our government will be coming to our aid if there is an illegal seizure of boats we are on in international waters.
You're smirking as you say this.
Yeah, well,
because you have your tongue in cheek on this one.
Well, no, but I know where the consular affairs office is in the State Department. I used to work in it. I'm going to go knocking at their door. Where are you? You know, if you're not coming to my aid, what good are you for? I protest at the State Department frequently, and this will be a good one. I'll be out there. This is Ann Wright, former diplomat. You didn't protect me at all. You didn't protect any of us. What good are you? So we'll hold him accountable.
Having worked there, give me a response from the State Department. Now, what would they say out of the window then?
Well, officially there will be silence. Unofficially, there will be people at the windows going, "You're right. You're right."
So it's a big challenge for Barack Obama, isn't it?
It is. It really is. And if he really means that he wants to change U.S. policies in the Middle East, this is a very, very good time to put pressure on the Israelis, to say to them, you can't continue this forever.
And Obama will apply enough pressure, hopefully.
Well, that's what we're telling Obama he must do. It is very hard, though. I mean, we have never had one American president of courage and bravery. Not one. So far, he's not brave. He's not courageous. He speaks a good thing, but that Nobel Peace Prize, why? If he really wants to be a recipient of the Peace Prize, he needs to force Israel to act in a civil manner toward the Palestinians.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
नाज़रीन, आपने मिस एन राइट की बातचीत सुनी. उसी फ्लोटिला के ऊपर हैं और अमेरिकन सिटीजन्स भी हैं. देखते हैं कि वाशिंगटन में से अब क्या जवाब आता है.